Da 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 da. Hi. Oh, battery. I wonder if it's gonna make it. We'll try. Hi, I'm Scott, and this is the 80 Thursdays project. This is day 6. I am in a different location because somebody, won't name names, Kirsty, said that I should move around my house a little bit. So I have. I'm now in Kendall's office. So the sound might be a little bit different. It's a little bit more echoey in here, but never mind. I'll go back to my normal place next week. So yeah, day 6. This week I focused on just playing around a little bit more with the game itself, with the test room. The test room was starting to get really long because I'm obviously like wanting to have as much space as possible to play around, the different platforms to play on top of. And so what was happening is that this level, this room was ending to be like, really long, skinny room, which is no use on, it's fine on a screen, a nice big one, but I can't play that on my phone. That's silly. So I did some research, looked into the camera angle, which I've never played with before. So I set up a camera view and I have it now, so it's a proper aspect ratio and it follows the character, or the test character anyway, the little orange square, back and forth, which is great. There's a couple things I need to tweak it. It seems to be that when it's going in one direction, when it's going left to right, the camera is a little bit lagging behind, so you can't really see what's coming up ahead of you. But when it's going backwards, you can see plenty behind. So I need to play around with it a little bit more. I'll maybe put a little thing in the corner showing that. And then I also, this week, and this is going to come off as a little cheap, but I don't care. I don't have a lot of money for this project. I have to work and stuff like that. And so I don't have £400 to drop on the full iOS version of GameMaker 2 yet. I'm hoping to, closer to the time. But for now, I just have the free, it's not like a trial, but it's kind of like a trial version of it just now. Which means that I can't input touch gestures or touch controls yet. And certainly none of the consoles, if I ever decide to launch this on a console. All I can do is keyboard and mouse input. And so as a result of that, since this is probably something I'm going to be looking to launch on, or to release on iOS, there needs to be touch controls in it eventually. So I'm kind of faking it with my keyboard and with my mouse and my trackpad. Hopefully I can come up with something that approximates the touch controls, and then down the line it's just a case of like importing it over, but I'm still playing around with that. So I think I might have something right, what I'm thinking about using is using the left and right keys, which that sounds blatantly obvious, but I think once I can explain what my control method is going to be, because I think it's quite unique, or I feel like it is anyway. It could be terrible, I don't know, but once I explain the control method, which I'm going to work on this next week, it'll make sense why I'm having problems translating that onto mouse and keyboard. It's not as straightforward as I may be wanting it to be. So anyway, I'm playing around with that. I also was playing a little bit more with the physics this time as well, just trying to get it to be nice and bouncy and flowing more than anything else, because right now it still kind of feels a bit icy, like it's like an ice level on Mario or something like that, and so he's kind of ping-ponging all over the place and there's no real friction or anything like that. And so I'm messing around and playing with that a little bit, trying to make it as fun as possible, and I think a lot of that might be tied to the camera. So maybe this coming week, if I have time, I can focus on that along with focusing on the control method and figuring out how I want this game to be played, because it ties in very closely to how the main mechanic of the game. Sorry, I got a little bit rambly there, but anyway. This week as well, I also finally came up with a logo for my little project, which is not that important, but I am a designer and I'm an illustrator first and foremost. That's what I've always done. And so I like designing logos, which is what I did. So I designed this logo. It'll be on the title card of this video. I quite like it. It's got some tweaking to do, but I like it. It's always fun to do logos. This week I will be I've got a whole day and I'm looking forward to it, of just focusing on stuff, keeping my head down, my headphones on, and not let things distract me. So hopefully next week's video will be a bit more progression and a bit more to talk about. But so yeah, it's progressing along and it's getting there. You know, it's a balancing act like all of this. I have the remaining 74 Thursdays or whatever it is. And so I still have plenty time to focus on this and to work on it. And I am taking a few spare moments here and there throughout my week. So it's going good. It's going very good. That's been this week. So as I said, next week I'm going to be focusing on the control scheme, figuring out what I want to do there, and then I can explain that more in the next video. And I will be looking at implementing that control scheme along with the camera in the game itself. And so I'm going to be playing around with a lot of the code next week. This has been day 6 of the 80 Thursdays project. See you next week. I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man.